Hi guys, Jessica here from the Healing Hands Duo. I just wanted to quickly jump on here and kind of clarify a few things because I've been getting quite a bit of questions about food in general. I do want to clarify this because I think if you guys have been watching Kevin and I on our YouTube channel, you'd realize that I think there is a lot more to our pain and suffering than food in itself. And I think with this last video, I just posted it last night, so it hasn't gotten many views yet. I think a lot of this will start to clear up some of those answers that some of you have about food in particular, and why Kevin and I don't necessarily think nutrition is the end all be all to how you will either heal from either your gut disease, because I'm getting a lot of questions about that now, or from your Lyme disease. I know a lot of people are probably going to give me some flack on this particular video and say to me like, lady, what the hell are you talking about? Nutrition is everything. And like I've said in this last video, Kevin and I did tons and tons and tons of diets. I'm not even joking when I say we literally went, Kevin and I have read probably 15 different diet books, and we did try and we did to incorporate the best of the best from all of those diets. So is nutrition important? Absolutely, nutrition is important. And for the first 2 to 3 years while I was struggling with my autoimmune disease, with my Crohn's colitis, I very strictly stuck to doing like a combination of the SCD, body ecology, and the GAPS diet, and that did help me immensely. However, I wouldn't say that I would solely attribute all of my success with my health, or even how I was able to come out of this last flare, to diet. Although it is important to be cautious and wary of the foods that you're putting in your body, especially because of things like anti-nutrients, which can contribute to damaging the gut, and deuterium, which not a lot of people are talking about this. I've even heard a few nutritionists who will kind of mention it in passing, but because it gets very deep into the science of what's happening to our world and to our bodies, and in regards to the energy on this planet, it's not something that people can ignore anymore. And I think the reason why I wanted to make this video now is because I wanted to kind of set up the channel where we would be discussing nutrition and our stories and all that for the last year and a half. But Kevin and I are going to be taking our channel in a little bit of a different direction right now, where we're going to talk more so about the deeper science of some of this stuff. And it may go over some people's heads. Again, Kevin is very left brain logical thinker, and he's very deeply into the quantum physics of things and the biology of things, and so am I. Both of us find science very fascinating. However, we're both very spiritual, so we take it from the metaphysical aspects as well. So the thing is, though, the thing that we've been working on for 12 years now is actually taking not only nutrition, but spirituality, and then other aspects of healing at the science level, and kind of amalgamating it all into one. So the reason why we need to get into the science behind all of this now is because without understanding that and the metaphysical aspects of why we get sick, or why the world has gone in the direction that it has, it's not going to be easy to explain how we healed our bodies. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I know a lot of people are going to be probably shocked by this, I would say diet and nutrition had less than probably had about 20 to 30% of significance as to why and how we were successfully able to reverse or stop my Crohn's colitis flares. And the other aspects of that is really concentrating on ATP levels and healing the mitochondria. Again, I'm not going to get into that too much in this video because we just did the video on deuterium. So please, people, if you guys haven't watched it, please go ahead and watch it, because Kevin and I briefly discuss what deuterium is, and we discuss why mitochondria and deuterium is so important to address early on, especially if you have an autoimmune disease or something, or if you're struggling from something like Lyme disease, because this goes far beyond just diet in itself. This is probably why there is, hundreds of diet books out there, because in my opinion, everybody thinks they have the next best thing, and they all think it has to do with a specific diet, whether you're vegan or vegetarian or carnivore or keto or epi-paleo or paleo. And I think everybody's kind of got it wrong, in the sense that this is why we have so many diet books, is because one diet is, first of all, not going to suit everyone to heal their bodies. Number two, everybody is at a different place in their healing journey. So what works for me may not necessarily work for you, based on things like your blood type, or whether you have a histamine issue, or whether you're dealing with mast cell activation, or whether you are expressing certain genetic markers and stuff like that. And I think the reason why Kevin and I needed to take it further back is because we're very different. Our biology is very different. I come from one part of the world and he comes from another part of the world. So what works for me didn't work for him. And I think that's when we realized early on that there must be something that universally will work for all of us. And really, in my opinion, that is increasing the mitochondrial ATP levels, and that is energy. There is one thing that we all have in common, and that common denominator is that we are all made up of light and energy. And that's not coming from a metaphysical aspect of it, that is coming from the actual science base of it. And I think that's where we're going to go next, which is why I really strongly encourage you guys to watch my deuterium video. It kind of explains what deuterium is. Next week on Wednesday, I'm working on that video right now. I'm definitely going to try and get that up for next Wednesday. And that will tell you guys that will give you guys some tips on what you can do to reduce your deuterium levels starting today or tomorrow, or whenever I upload that video. Doctors and nutritionists and physicists and all that have realized that we have a major problem on this planet right now. And the problem that we have on this planet, unfortunately, I think humans have caused this issue when we created all of this dirty electricity on our planet, which is, again, going to be an issue when 5G comes out. So please, people, kind of watch those videos, and then we're going to go into a very extensive video that is going to discuss water. And I know a lot of people may roll their eyes. I've had people once before tell me, like, that's ridiculous, water is just water, there's nothing to it. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Water is not just water, and science is just discovering now that we've missed a whole entire phase of water, which is very important, because the one reason why, like, for instance, you guys have all heard of the scenario that you can go a lot longer with absolutely no food in your system, but you can only literally go like a couple of days without water before the system would shut down. And this is another reason why I think many of us are struggling, and I think a lot of it has to do with the energy grid and deuterium depleted water, and I think a lot of it, which is a heavy water, and I think a lot of it has to do with how this energy grid is depleting the water from our cells. Again, I'm not going to get into that too much, because we're going to talk about that in extensive videos, and I think that series is probably going to be either 4 to 5 parts long that Kevin's been working on. Some things that we've kind of discovered, some things that we've developed in our house, and we've been testing on ourselves now for a couple of years. But the other thing is, I think this could be potentially some of the answers that we've all been looking for, and how to basically help heal our bodies and reverse some chronic diseases and illnesses, but also to just help with everything that's happening with us right now. Because the one thing that I'm noticing is that a lot of people are struggling with issues like parasites and bacteria. And Kevin had kind of mentioned in another Instagram video that that's not primarily our problem. The problem that we have to start thinking about now is that why are all these parasites, bacteria, and viruses becoming a pandemic? And why has Lyme disease become a problem globally now? What is driving and allowing these bacteria to thrive in our environment, and why are our bodies not helping? Why are our own God-given immune systems not fighting off these infections anymore? And again, a lot of that has to do with not just deuterium, water, but energy, and we will be getting into that on the channel in the weeks to come. A lot of people, like I said, are not even aware of what deuterium is, and I think in order to understand where medicine is going to go, we need to start really looking at the primary causes for illness. And in my opinion, a lot of that has to do with light and energy, as opposed to the biochemical aspects of it, as well as things like deuterium, which is not necessarily a toxin, which I talk about in my last video, and is actually a natural substance to the planet, but is now in overabundance because of what we've done with the energy grid potentially, or other aspects of what we've done with pollution on this planet. So I'm going to cut that off here because it's really long. I don't know how many of you guys will watch this all the way through, but I really wanted to get on here and say this today because I get tons of questions about food, and I feel like some people might be missing the point for our channel, and our channel is to kind of get you to a place to realize that food is not the end all be all, and that yes, food, although nutrition is important, there's a lot more to optimal wellness than just food in itself, and we need to get back to the reason why people even eat in the first place. And that's because our bodies primarily produce energy from food, but the thing is our bodies produce energy from multiple ways, and some of those ways could be from water and the sun, and even creating it internally within the body through oxygen and with breath work. So stay tuned for that video, which will be released next Wednesday. I do apologize. I know people have questions and everybody just wants to get to the point, but without really telling you guys or giving you guys a background and kind of building up to all of this stuff, it would have been just way too overwhelming to talk about all this stuff that Kevin and I have been doing for the last couple of years if we had started with that. That's why our channel really goes back to the basics of nutrition and then slowly talks about supplements, which I do have reservations about. I sell supplements personally, and I worked in the industry for 8 years, and I will tell you a lot of supplements out there do have high amounts of deuterium, which is why I don't push supplements on people that much, and why I tell people to start off with the diet first, and then incorporate some key supplements here that will help you with digestion. But my approach is to, and especially because we own something like the Supersona Photon Genius and the Genie, when you get into machines like this and you are balancing out the immune system and increasing your mitochondrial ATP levels and your nitric oxide levels and your oxygenation through ozone and stuff like that, you're going to notice that you don't need to take as many supplements either, because these things are correcting your cellular biology. And supplements are great and we need them, but I wouldn't say they're the end all be all either, which is why through my studio I could have probably carried 40 different supplements, but I chose not to do that, because even in the beginning when I was struggling with major gut damage, I couldn't even digest most supplements either, and I had to take things in the form of liquids or tinctures or powders. And then I didn't find out until recently, like maybe 8 or 9 years later, that supplements in themselves could actually be a problem because of the deuterium levels. So again, we'll mention all this in our video next Wednesday. So if you haven't watched the first part of this video, I know it kind of just abruptly kind of cuts off after the 16 or 17 minutes. But the reason why I did that is because if I had done this video all as one part, it would have been well over 45 minutes. And I don't know that many people would have wanted to sit through something like that. So please watch that video in preparation for the next video that will be coming up next Wednesday. And again, this is part of a series. So I know I called it carnivore versus vegan, and maybe that wasn't the best title that I could have chose, but the reason why I chose that was because I felt like the internet was blowing up with these people who are constantly battling back and forth on diets and saying that, the best way to eat is carnivore and the best way to eat is vegan. And I think a lot of people are not taking it back to the cellular biology of it, and they don't really understand why veganism might be working for them or not working for them, or why this new carnivore diet is working for everyone. And a lot of that again goes back to deuterium levels, and I think that's why people are finding some success in it. However, I don't necessarily encourage either of those diets because I don't think they're well balanced. However, I do think you can use both of those diets to reset yourself, and maybe at some point we'll talk about that. But at this point, watch the 4-part series. It is called Carnivore versus Vegan, and there's going to be 4 parts. The 4th part will be coming out next week, and then that will wrap up that series until we get into our water video series, which will be panned out over the course of maybe a month or 2. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm going to get off here now. Please do. I apologize for my hair. When I woke up this morning, I didn't even bother to put my face on or do my hair because I did some meditation this morning, and I'm going to be jumping into my sauna. So I just want to get this out there because, like I said, I get a lot of questions about diet. I don't know where I'm going to post this video. It's going to be so long. Okay, bye.